know football is constantly evolving, and each and every position has had to evolve in its own specific way right along with it. The linebacker position has probably seen the most drastic change out of any of them. Back when offenses were built run-heavy, smash-mouth, pound you into the dirt, defenses countered by constructing their entire identities around the skills and personalities of their linebackers, the guys who were big enough to take on pulling guards and obliterate fullbacks in the hole, while also scraping over the top and chasing running backs sideline to sideline. There was a bar fight every single week in the trenches, and your biggest, toughest, nastiest linebacker was the guy you wanted to bring to the party. But now, things are different. Offenses have shifted to the pass first and have moved away from running the ball. And the massive hulking backers who were only there to stop the run have been completely phased out of the league. Nowadays, linebackers in general, while still crucial to overall team success, have taken a step down in the pecking order with the emphasis more on the pass rush and cover corners in the secondary. Today's linebackers still have to stop the run and play in the trenches, but now have to cover running backs, tight ends, and even receivers in space, making it increasingly rare to find guys who can check every box. When you do find that type of player, it's special because of just how many things that guy has to do. And when studying All-Pro linebacker Fred Warner on film, it's apparent he can do everything and even more. Warner has special ability both before the snap and after the snap to diagnose and process a million things at once. He has rare coverage skills in both man and zone and is able to run with any position all over the field, even burners 50 yards on a go. He can change direction at any moment, is good in between the tackles, and can run down any ball carrier anywhere on the field. He's good in the run game, and we'll get to that more in a bit, but his coverage skills are what really set him apart. In each of his 3 seasons, his QB rating when targeted, yards per target, and yards per completion have gone down. And while raw ability to be able to move, run, and cover is important, Warner's film study is what separates him. His understanding of the opposing offensive coordinator, the play caller, as well as the play call, who the receiver is, the formations, and the down and distance, those are all the little details he pays attention to, which then turn into big plays. Take this example from Week 3 on a 2nd and 10. The Giants have a 3-receiver trips formation to the field, with Evan Engram split about 5 yards away from the right tackle. And just so we all know how the 49ers are identifying who has which receiver, defenses in general count from the outside in 1 to 2 to 3, so here Ingram's the number 3 receiver. In zone coverage, Warner is responsible for the number 3 receiver, while also playing the middle hook. So because he's leveraged a few yards inside of Engram, the Giants want to run outbreaking concepts like stick. But Warner jumps this route as if he already knows exactly what's coming. So the question is, did he actually know? The answer is yes, and that's because of his ability to decipher those little details and pick up on tendencies while studying film, which sometimes don't go back weeks before the game, but years. When the Giants hired Jason Garrett, who had just been fired by the Cowboys this past offseason, there wasn't a chance in hell Garrett wouldn't heavily borrow from his success with the Cowboys. He, and specifically tight end Jason Witten, were extremely successful thanks to 2 variations of one concept, Y stick and Y option. To show an example of one of those, the Cowboys are in a similar formation as the Giants were, except Witten's attached to the line, and like Engram, he's running a stick route where he can decide to sit down in open space or break away from the linebacker. Witten accumulated literally thousands of yards from this concept over his career, and to nobody's surprise, Garrett jammed Evan Engram into that same mold by using these same concepts. On the very first play of this year from the same formation, but with Engram detached from the line, they run, you guessed it, Y stick, with Engram breaking away from the backer. A few minutes later, they run Y option, which is basically identical for Engram, but puts 2 on a seam and 1 on a hitch. Garrett calls this 5-9-5 Y option. This same trips formation is a good indicator the Giants are running Y stick or Y option, and like Garrett's time with the Cowboys, it's still a core part of their offense. So when we roll back around to Week 3, a few minutes into the game on 2nd and 6, which is an important down and distance to remember, the Giants go back to it and call Y stick once again. It's tough for Warner since he has to play so far inside to protect the middle of the field, and Engram is able to get outside of him and make the catch. As the game wore on, Warner already knew the formational tendency from film study, but started noticing a situational tendency developing as well. On 2nd and 6 to 10, the Giants called one of these concepts to pick up a low-risk, low-reward 5 to 6 yards to get themselves into a manageable 3rd down. And because Warner was leveraged so far inside, It looked like easy pickings for Danny Dimes. Fast forward to our original play, which came with a minute left in the half, and now Warner's seen enough. It's 2nd and 10, so the same situation as the others, and again, the Giants are in their trips formation with Ingram off the line. They call Y option, which instead is a seam route to clear more space for the option, because Warner's prepared, knows the situation, the formation, the receiver, and the play caller. Despite being leveraged way inside, he practically runs the route for Ingram and makes a huge play. It might look like he's almost cheating at times because he's so damn fast, and play callers will try and take advantage of that during games. Because of his great play recognition paired with his freaky movement ability, he's not guessing, he's just actually that good. On 3rd downs, Robert Saleh will add more to Warner's plate by playing him on the line of scrimmage. This helps mess with the offense's protection rules, but puts more stress on Warner to cover extra space in his coverage assignment. The Giants use a similar trips formation to make this appear like they're running their Y-stick concept to get Warner to fly outside to guard Ingram so Golden Tate can sneak underneath him. Remember, Warner's assignment is the number 3 receiver, but since he's reading and not guessing, he picks up the new number 3 when Tate comes underneath him, and when your linebacker can flip his hips like this and run with a slot receiver, well, it's not something you see every day. Warner is able to play on the line of scrimmage and still cover receivers, which helps the 49ers pass rush since it messes up the offense's protection, even when they have the right numbers. The Niners are bringing a 4-man blitz from the right, and the Giants have 4 in protection to pick it up. But since Warner's lined up on the outside shoulder of the center, he has to honor that threat, so he can't move back over in time, and the Giants can't switch their assignments quickly enough to block the free runner. Saleh knows he can put more stress on Warner to do things on defense they shouldn't be able to get away with, and by deploying Warner in these 50 fronts on the line, which means there's 5 guys up front, the 49ers are able to maintain good coverage over the middle while still messing with the offense's protection. When they call cover 4 quarters, which surprisingly they played at a higher percentage than any other team in the league, Warner is responsible for the number 3 receiver vertical, since if everyone goes deep, the corner would have 1 and the safety would have 2. This means Warner has to match 3 vertical and close the open middle of the field, while starting at essentially the same depth as the receiver Mike Gesicki. The seam route against the linebacker is a classic beater in the low red zone, but not when you have Fred Warner. One of the things about playing quarters coverage is that the middle of the field is open, meaning there are no safeties in the deep center of the field like there are when you're playing cover 1 or cover 3. This means that receivers will convert the routes to attack that open space. And who did Robert Saleh trust to help with that? His middle linebacker, which is almost unheard of. Here, Devontae Adams wants to bend his route to attack that open middle of the field, and if Warner can't get underneath him on the bracket with the safety, Adams would have the leverage to be able to run away from Jaquiski Tartt. But Warner's so fast, without starting with much of a cushion at all, he completely beats him to the spot and makes Rodgers pull the ball and run. Warner did this against fast receivers, big receivers, small receivers, tight ends, really anybody in the league. Teams kept trying to attack the open middle of the field, but Warner was too quick and kept beating them to the spot. Offenses attempted the second fewest passes over the middle of the field, and on throws 10 or more yards to the same spot, the fewest in the league. The middle of the field is Warner's, and that's not just in coverage, but in the box as well. This type of run scheme is called a GF counter, where the offense will try and fool the defense into flowing the wrong way, while simultaneously bringing extra blockers front side to the point of attack. GF counter consists of a double team with the G guard and F tight ends pulling front side. Well, Warner points all of this out and signals to his defense that the guard and tight end are blocking to the right. Then he slips a block and makes the tackle. So again, how did he know what was coming? Look at the splits of the center and both guards. The left guard is much tighter to the center and slightly behind him, so that the center can quickly jump the D tackle so he doesn't blow up the play, plus he needs to make room for the guard to be able to pull behind him. Warner knows in GF counter that the guard pulls to trap the end, who doesn't get blocked, and the tight end pulls through the hole to kick out the linebacker. He knows there's a double team on the other D tackle front side, so that means he'll have to avoid the other tight end coming across the formation to hit him. He tracks the running back through the flow of the guard and tight end, then slips the block he knows is coming and makes the tackle. Then skip to the end of the season in Week 16. The Cardinals use the same exact play call, but mix the formation up a little bit to try and fool him, and put an extra lineman in, so a 6th lineman, to make sure that guy doesn't miss the same block the tight end just did, but again, Warner slips him and blows up the play. He really is the heart and soul of the 49ers defense. And despite all the personnel changes, including all the injuries this season, especially to the front four, the defense still stayed respectable. The more the 49ers continue heaping things onto his plate, the better he keeps playing. Because of how wide they play their ends, that puts more stress on him to hold up in the run game. Because of how they changed their coverages this year, that puts more stress on him to cover some of the best receivers in the league. The more he's able to do, the less offenses are able to do, which in turn makes them more vanilla and less effective. Now that the league is throwing the ball more and more often, a player with this set of skills is more valuable than ever. No longer do we see the hulking, smash-mouth, blow-up-the-run linebackers dominating the NFL, but the lightning-quick, versatile backers who can do just about anything. Fred Warner is the perfect model for the new age at the linebacker position. He's the face of the 49ers, the quarterback of their defense. He's not just dominating in the present, he'll dominate well into the future.